Good day, everyone. For my oral interpretation, I have here the story of Hans Christian Andersen entitled The Last Dream of Old Oak. In the forest, high upon the steep shore, and not far from the open sea coast, stood a very old oak tree. It was 365 years old, but that long time was to the tree as the same number of days might be to us. We wake by day and sleep by night, and then we have our dreams. It is different from the tree. It is obliged to keep awake through 3 seasons of the year and does not get any sleep till winter comes. Winter is its time for rest. Its night after a long day of spring, summer, and autumn. On many a warm summer, the ephemera, the flies that exist only for a day, had fluttered about the old oak, enjoyed the life, and felt happy. And if for a moment one of the tiny creatures rested on one of its large fresh leaves, the tree would always say, "Poor little creature, your whole life consists only of a single day. How very short! It must be quite a melancholy." "Melancholy? What do you mean?" the little creature would always reply. "Everything around me is so wonderful, bright and warm and beautiful. It makes me joyous." "But only for one day, and then it's all over." "Over?" repeated the fly. "What is the meaning of all over? Are you all over too?" "No, I shall very likely to live for thousands of dear days, and my day is whole seasons long. Indeed, if it's so long that you could never reckon it out." "No, I don't understand you. You have thousands of days, but I have thousands of moments in which I can be merry and happy. Does all the beauty of the world cease when you die?" "No," replied the tree. "It will certainly last much longer, infinitely longer than I can ever think of."
"Well then," said the fly, "we have the same time to live, only we reckon differently."
And then the little creature danced and floated in the air, rejoicing in her delicate wings of gauze and velvet, rejoicing in the balmy breeze laden with the fragrance of clover fields and wild roses, elder blossoms and honeysuckle from the garden hedges, wild thyme, primrose and mint, and the scent of all this was so strong that the perfume almost intoxicated the little fly. The long and beautiful day had been so full of joy and sweet delights that when the sun sank low, it felt tired of all its happiness and enjoyment. Its wings would sustain it no longer, and gently and slowly it glided down upon the soft waving waves of grass, nodded its little head, and as it could nod, and slept peacefully and sweetly. The fly was dead. "Poor little ephemera," said the oak. "What a terribly short life!" And so, on every summer day, the dance was repeated, the same questions asked and the same answers given by every fly that lay on the branches of the oak tree. The same thing was continued through many generations of ephemera. All of them felt equally merry and equally happy, even if they died. The oak remained awake through the morning of spring, the noon of summer, and the evening of autumn. Its time of rest, its night drew nigh, winter was coming. Although already the storms were singing, "Good night, good night," here fell a leaf, and there fell a leaf. "We will rock you and lull you. Go to sleep, go go to sleep. We will sing you to sleep and shake you to sleep, and it will do your old tweeds good. They will crackle with pleasure. Sleep sweetly, sleep sweetly. It's your 365th night. Correctly speaking, you are both a youngster in the world. Sleep sweetly, the clouds will drop snow upon you, which will be quite a coverlid, warm and sheltering to your feet. Sweet sleep to you and pleasant dreams. And there stood the oak, stripped of all its leaves, left to rest during the whole of a long winter, and to dream many dreams of events that happened in its life. As in dreams of men, the great tree had once been small. Indeed, in its cradle it had been an acorn. According to human computation, it was now in the 4th century of its existence. It was the largest and the best tree in the forest. Its summit towered above all other trees, and that could be seen far out at sea, so that it served as a landmark to the sailors. It had no idea how many eyes looked eagerly for it. In its topmost branch, the wood pigeon built her nest, and the cuckoo carried out its usual vocal performances. And in autumn, when the leaves looked like beaten copper plates, the birds of passage would come and rest upon the branches before taking their flight across the sea. But now it was winter. The tree stood leafless, so that everyone could see how crooked and bent were the branches that sprang forth from the trunk. It was just about holy Christmas time that the tree dreamed a dream. The tree had doubtless a kind of feeling that the festive time had arrived, and his dream fancied he heard the bells ringing from all the churches round, and yet it seemed to him a beautiful summer day, mild and warm. His mighty summit was crowned with spreading fresh green foliage. The sunbeams played among the leaves and branches, and the air was full of fragrance from herb and blossom. Painted butterflies chased each other, and the summer flies danced around him, as if the world had been created merely for them to dance and be merry in. All that had happened to the tree during every year of his life seemed to pass before him in a festive procession. He saw the knights of olden times and noble ladies ride through the woods on their gallant steeds, with plumes waving in their hats and falcons on their wrists. The hunting horns sounded and the dogs barked. He saw hostile warriors in colored dresses and glittering armor, with spear and halberd pitching their tent, unknown striking them. The tree felt itself stretching and spreading out, while through the root beneath the earth ran the warm vigor of life. As he grew higher and still higher, with increased strength, his topmost boughs became broader and fuller, and in proportion to his growth, so was his self-satisfaction increased, and with it arose a joyous longing to grow higher and higher, to reach even the warm, bright sun itself. Already had his topmost branches pierced the clouds, which floated beneath them like troops of birds of passage, or large, as if it possessed eyes to see. These were wonderful and happy moments for the old tree, full of peace and joy, and yet amidst all this happiness, the tree felt a yearning, longing desire that all the other trees, bushes, herbs, and flowers beneath him might be able to also rise higher as he had done, to see all this splendor and experience the same happiness. The grand, majestic oak could not be quite happy in the midst of his enjoyment, while all the rest, both great and small, were not with him. And this feeling of yearning trembled through every branch, through every leaf. as warmly and fervently as they had been the fibers of a human heart. The summit the tree waved to and fro bent downwards, as if in his silent longing he sought for something. Then there came to him the fragrance of thyme, followed by the more powerful scent of honeysuckle and violets, and he fancied he heard the note of the cuckoo. At length his longing was satisfied. Up through the clouds came the green summits of forest trees, and beneath him the oaks saw them rising, growing higher and higher. Bush and herb shot upward, and some even tore themselves up by the roots to rise more quickly. The birch tree was the quickest of them all. Like a lightning flash, the slender stem shot upward in a zigzag line, the branches spreading around it like green gauze and banners. Every native of the wood even fluttered in the air like a long green ribbon. Sat a grasshopper cleaning his wings with his legs. Many beetles hummed, the bees murmured, the birds sang, each in his own way. The air was filled with the sound of song and gladness. But where is this little blue flower that grows by the water? Asked the oak. And the purple bellflower and the daisy? You see, the oak wanted to have them all with him. Here we are, sounded in voice and song. But the beautiful thyme of last summer, where is that? And the lilies of the valley, which last year covered the earth with their bloom, and the wild apple tree with its lovely blossom, and all the glory of the wood, which has flourished year after year. Even what may have now sprouted forth could be with us here on the top. Here we are, sounded voice higher in the air, as if they had flown there beforehand. Why, this is beautiful, too beautiful to be believed, said the oak in a joyous tone. I have them all here, both great and small. Not one has ever been forgotten. Can such happiness be imagined? It seemed almost impossible. In the heaven, with the eternal God, it can be imagined, and it is possible, sounded the reply through the air. And the old tree, as it still grew upwards and upwards higher, it felt that its roots were loosening themselves from the earth. It is right so, it is best, said the tree. No fetters hold me now. I can fly up to the very highest point in light and glory, and all I love are with me, both great and small. All are here. Such was the dream of the old oak. All the while he dreamed, a mighty storm came rushing over land and sea at the holy Christmas time. The sea rolled in the great billows towards the shore. There was cracking and crashing here in the tree. The root was torn from the ground just as the moment when his dream he fancied it was being loosened from the earth. He fell. His 365 years were passed as the single day of the ephemera fly. On the morning of the Christmas day, when the sun rose, the storm had ceased. From all the churches sounded like festive bells from every hearth. Even on the smallest hut rose the smoke into the blue sky, like the smoke from the festive thanks offering of the Druids' altar. The sea gradually became calm, and on board a great ship had that withstood the tempest during the night, all the flags were displayed as a token of joy and festivity. The tree is down! The old oak, our landmark on the coast! Exclaimed the sailors. It must have fallen in the storm last night. Who can replace it? Alas, no one! This was a funeral oration over the old tree, short but well meant. There it lay, stretched on the snow-covered shore, and over it sounded the notes of the song from the ship, a song of Christmas joy and of the redemptive of the soul of the man and of eternal life through Christ's atoning blood. Sing aloud, all happy morn, all is fulfilled, for Christ is born. With songs of joy, let us loudly sing, hallelujah to Christ our King. Thus sounded the old Christmas carol, and everyone on board the ship felt his thoughts elevated through the song and the prayer, even as the old tree had felt lifted up in its beautiful dream on that Christmas morn. And that, everyone, was the last dream of Old Oak.